The PHLY Eagles podcast on a Tuesday high noon. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, as we prepare for the release of the NFL schedule tomorrow night in prime time. Zach, are you excited? Big week for the Berman household. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Excited to see you. Excited to see Julia, and excited for the schedule tomorrow night. I always enjoy the WL exercise when the schedule comes out. I know. My son's a big fan of that. He's going to be. We're gonna be here in studio, but he'll print it off at home and he'll do the W and Ls. But yeah, I
you think he's gonna throw any T's in there?
Oh, good question. Maybe so.
Why not?
Maybe so.
Let's get a little frisky.
But yeah, there's always these people who are like, oh, you can't predict the games now. That's the fun part of the schedule. Yeah, exactly.
What else are we gonna do?
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So looking forward to the schedule.
We're going to talk about some of the general things about like the opponents that they have. You know, the professor himself, Daniz, has a good layout of how that all works out, strength of schedule wise. We'll talk about that. You and I are going to make some specific predictions, totally dart throw type predictions about just some things that we think might happen with the schedule tomorrow. So looking forward to it.
A little tease, as they say in the business, is there might be a reference to a World Series game in there and a big-time college football game in there.
Oh.
Somebody's birthday and somebody's homecoming. So pay attention to that.
Wow. From where Julia went to high school?
Oh, no.
Not that kind of homecoming.
A homecoming that all Eagles fans will appreciate. Not that they won't appreciate where Julia went to high school, but although we do have our 20-year reunion this fall, so I will be paying attention to whether I'm home or not for that.
Can we do like a live episode from like in the?
I feel like we have to.
The reception area.
Yeah, we have to.
No, but
we'll do something.
I might be out of town, honestly, so. You might actually go in my place, which worries me quite a bit.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be
if the Eagles are in New Orleans or Los Angeles, or you pick, you pick Cincinnati, then.
So tell me this: when Emily looks at the schedule,
yes,
what are the dates that she's hoping that you're not going to be out of town for? What are the things we're rooting for? And as a community of listeners to the show, we can all sort of combine our power of force of will to root for the same thing on Emily's behalf.
Yeah. So one of my brothers is getting married in October, and I will be at the wedding. I promise. I will.
Wow.
I will be at the wedding, but I'm sincerely hoping that it's a home game or a game against the Giants or the Commanders or the Ravens this year or the bye week.
Is it a Friday night or Saturday night wedding?
It's Saturday night.
Okay.
So we're paying attention to that. Now, and by the way, there are road games that I could potentially fly into the morning of that I've already kind of scoured, but that's the big date. There's some 40th birthday celebrations that Emily doesn't want to go to alone. But I think the wedding's the big one, and then she prefers then there's certain like weekends that she wants to see if I'm home. Primetime games. We saw this last year. They knocked me out more than they did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So especially.
So she's just rooting for your general health, and
yes, she's rooting for 1
Let's
p.m.
get
games.
some 1 o'clock games.
Also, 1 p.m. games. Reed can go to the games. He can't really go prime time, but last year it seemed like all the primetime games were on the road. Did that?
Yeah, it did feel like that.
So then, you're working till 4 a.m. You're catching the 6 a.m.
But even
flight.
the home ones were like 4 o'clock. They were not a lot of 1 o'clock. They just
no,
weren't
but I'm saying, but in
games.
general, like you want your primetime games at home because then you're home with the, primetime games on the road. Look, no, I'm not complaining. I'm very fortunate to have this job. Like I was texting someone the other day, like let my occupational plight be that I'm spending 36 hours in a foreign country, right? But primetime games on the road, you're killing time at a hotel. Whereas if you're home, you can hang out with the family. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Now, what is the date of the wedding? So that we can all be attuned to this.
I don't know if I'm giving that out right now, but
you didn't even say where the wedding is. Like, just give us the date.
Late October.
Late October.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out as a group, guys.
I don't want to speak on my brother and future.
You haven't even said which one it is.
Yeah.
So we're talking the 26th.
Yes.
Okay, October 26th. So that means October 27th. We want to make sure that game is not in New Orleans or Los Angeles.
Yes.
Let's make that a home game, or even better yet, the bye week. Let's see how much pull you have with Roger.
The bye week, or honestly, Giants, Commanders, Ravens would be fine. That's a day trip.
Right.
So realistically, we already know one of the Eagles' home games is away. You have 8 plus the bye week, 9 plus 3 of these driving trips. So 12
out of 16.
Yeah, 12 out of 16 chance. Those are pretty good odds.
That's 75%.
Exactly. So 75% chance of no conflict.
Come on, Roger.
Yes.
Don't screw with Zach. He has been in your corner your entire career. Do him a solid.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the schedule strength as Deniz has it laid out, and I don't know which of these two graphics you want to pull up, Julia, but we are grateful as always to the professor for his lovely graphics. This is the slate of opponents the Eagles have. Aside from the NFC East teams, they have the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers at home. The Green Bay Packers, we know, is in Brazil. The Browns, Steelers, and Jags at home. On the road, you've got the Bucks, Saints, Rams, Ravens, and Bengals. Now, I like the other way that he has it laid out. If you pull up the other graphic, Julia, if you just go to 2022, when we know the Eagles had that relatively easy schedule. Last year, obviously, the very difficult schedule, the gauntlet, and this year. So I think if you sort of break this down into like 3 levels, 2022, that easy schedule year, only 2 teams and 3 games total against teams who entered the season with top 10 Super Bowl odds. Now, they had 2 games against the Cowboys, so that's 3 games. In 2023, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games against those top 10 teams, including 3 against the top 5. And then this year, 4, but it's sort of the back end of that top 10. Really, like Baltimore and Cincinnati are the only really difficult non-division games on the schedule. You've got Green Bay, so it's 5 total games, but it's backloaded. The difference is this year, a lot of that like middle ground. So some of those teams in that middle ground, Atlanta and the Rams and the Browns and the Jags and the Steelers, some of those teams are going to turn out to be pretty good, right? They're not totally loaded with the bottom barrel like they were in 2022. Although I do think it's kind of a funny little occurrence that 3 years in a row they will play the team with the worst odds to win the Super Bowl. Just something. I don't know.
Well, first off, great work by the professor.
I love
how he uses Super Bowl odds and not last year's record, right? Because you see some of these tweets out now, like strength of schedule based on last year's record.
Sure.
That doesn't do me as much good as Super Bowl odds. So appreciate that. And
he's no dummy.
No, and you have a great point. I think that a lot of this has to do with the conference. With the opposing division that you're facing in the other conference. Now the thing is, and you mentioned this, I think the NFC North. The AFC North. Like you're facing 4 quality teams.
Yeah, that's
tough. The Ravens and the Bengals are obviously legit Super Bowl contenders, but then the Browns are going to be a good team. The Steelers are always
good
tough.
Offensive line, you know that.
Good offensive line, you know that. Yeah, so that's a tough draw. But last year, the AFC West getting the Chiefs was obviously a tougher draw.
What's up with the Falcons being 13th best odds? Better odds to win the Super Bowl than the Rams and the Browns? And the Jags? It's a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins that the team themselves don't have.
I mean, Michael Penix, right?
That's a great. What are they doing up there?
Well, you know what? When you have a tight end like Kyle Pitts, that's a matchup nightmare. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's really moving the needle. Anything else sort of jump out to you? Obviously, the thing that you would like to avoid from the Eagles' standpoint is, let's say the Ravens, Bengals, and a Cowboys game being lumped together in sort of a gauntlet scenario like they had last year. You'd like maybe a little bit of separation between those games.
Sure. Well said. Yeah, I think what you're really paying attention to with the Eagles' schedule overall is like where are the teams that can be better than expectations. And the teams that are better than expectations are when typically a young quarterback emerges, right? So to the point of like the Falcons, I think the Falcons raises the baseline getting Kirk Cousins, but a team like the Texans that made that jump last year. It's when the young quarterback emerges. So you try to look for young quarterbacks on the opposing teams, like Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels steps in and is really good, then Washington's better than expectations. If Bryce Young makes a huge leap, then Carolina's better than expectations. So those are kind of the two that jump out. I mean, Daniel Jones, you know what he is. Russell Wilson.
Bad.
Yeah. Like, you have quarterbacks like Russell Wilson where you're expecting what they are. The Saints, you're kind of expecting what they are. Tampa Bay's a solid team, but you're not expecting Mayfield to make that jump into like an elite quarterback. But I think where you typically see the delta is when that young quarterback is better than expectations.
This stuff is always, I mean, to the point of your thing about it's silly to predict wins between now and then. Of course it's silly, and it's a little bit ridiculous to analyze these games this far out because so much is going to change. But if you are just playing the odds, who are the teams that like you would like to see early versus see late? Like I mean, you got to play the Commanders twice.
Yeah.
You'd probably rather play Jaden Daniels early, right?
So yes, you would rather see Jaden Daniels early. That said, I typically, and I would have to go through this, but the game that jumps out in my head is the 2015 opener against the Falcons. I typically don't like to see new coaches early. I think of like Doug Pederson's first year. There was that element of surprise. So you would rather see the Saints early. Like you know what the Saints are doing.
Yeah,
the Saints. The Saints aren't a team that in November is going to be much different than they are in September.
That's a perfect one.
Yeah. Whereas, not to say that like Carolina's going to be awesome, but Dave Canales with if Bryce Young makes a jump, that's a team that might catch up on you a little earlier. So you like to see teams that you have some familiarity with.
You don't want to play the Rams week 2 when McVay's had all offseason to like rework his offense, right?
Sure. But you're not so worried if the Giants are a week 2 opponent.
Yeah.
You're like, all right.
You take the Giants whenever.
Sure.
You can play them 17 times. You'd be feeling pretty good.
Exactly. You probably want some.
Pittsburgh is one where you would want them early, I think.
Okay.
Even though it's
Smith,
a new quarterback,
Wilson.
but like,
Sure.
yeah, that's
fair.
That's fine.
Fair. And so you obviously know that you're facing Green Bay early, and you have a sense of what Green Bay is going to look like. Now, Jordan Love's one of those quarterbacks who can take an even bigger jump, but schematically they're going to look similar. The offense is obviously a little bit different. With Josh Jacobs there as opposed to Aaron Jones, but that's one.
Great point from Cousin Grace. Carolina coming to town. You probably want it to be nice weather outside when Dave Canales is here because you want him to be able to be roaming the streets late the night before.
Stay as far.
If he's got to put on a jacket, it's a little bit like a higher lift. But if it's September, you still got some hot steamy summer going on. That's got to be good for the Eagles' odds. You got to think.
Staying far away from that one, but I am curious to see
Grace
what the tunnel reaction is when Dave Canales comes out, because I do think that there are devoted Bo Wulf listeners who
a lot of cat calls probably
who are gonna hear who know your sense of humor, there are minions as we call them for Bo, who Bo is gonna be revved up that week, is gonna have a lot of good lines, and there are gonna be Eagles fans that crowd that Panthers Panthers tunnel and have like passages from the book ready to read. So.
Well, Zach, speaking of people who really bring the meat wherever they go, let's talk about ButcherBox. ButcherBox is really what it's all about. Delivered right to your doorstep, free shipping always, and curated, customized box plans. Actually, I got my ButcherBox delivery last week. Got the mixed. You got some ground beef, you got some steak, you got some chicken. Pulled out some of the ground beef over the weekend. Made some nachos last night for the kids. Nice little easy Monday. Let's get the week started and make sure that they're eating. You can throw as many vegetables on there as you want. They're gonna eat it. Good little, Monday thing to have in your back pocket. The thing about ButcherBox, easily find high quality meat and seafood you can trust. We're talking 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood, humanely raised, no antibiotics or hormones. ButcherBox. They're not just great, but they're supporting us and you. They're giving you a big deal here. Our listeners get an amazing offer where new users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Join today using our link at butcherbox.com/PHLY and use code PHLY to receive this exclusive offer today before time runs out.
We talk on this show often about RITEAID and in particular allergy season, but you need to know RITEAID also, they'll help you out with all your vaccines. Protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on your immunizations. RITEAID pharmacists are specially trained, certified in giving immune shots. Most vaccines are no cost with insurance or through government plans like the Medicare, Part D of your Medicare plan. If you're unsure what vaccines you need, get a personalized recommendation from a RITEAID pharmacist. There are vaccines for COVID-19, shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, and more. RSV vaccine is something to pay attention to. It's a highly contagious seasonal virus that infects that infects the respiratory tract. It is very common in young children, and most will be infected by age 2. So although RSV typically causes mild cold-like symptoms, it can cause serious lung infections, especially in infants and older adults and those with chronic medical conditions or weakened immune system. The CDC recommends certain individuals 60 or older receive this one-time vaccine, and pregnant women during weeks 32 to 36 of pregnancy during September through January. So make sure you go to your RITEAID, your local RITEAID store. They have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer the vaccines and answer all your questions. If you have questions on which shots you need, or if you're not sure if you're up to date, or if you're too nervous to ask the question, a RITEAID pharmacist will take the time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask a RITEAID pharmacist for details.
Nice stuff. All right. Should we get into our predictions? Anything? Big picture takeaways? What do you want to talk about?
So we can't get into predictions. I just want to give a little road trip primer first. Or actually, let's do the predictions. The road trip primer will be the end of the show.
Go ahead.
No. Let's do predictions, then road trip primer, end of the show. Yeah.
All right. Our setup here is we wanted to do 4 predictions each of sort of increasingly long odds.
Okay.
So like you got a first down, second down, third down, fourth down. Okay. I'm going to give you my least long shot prediction. Mm-hmm. And it's still a pretty specific prediction. There are some rumors, some speculation that week 2 for the Eagles is going to be Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Because they're coming off of the Brazil trip. Jason Kelce is a part of the Monday Night broadcast now. You want to get him to Lincoln Financial Field early. Let's get a home game. So I'm going to predict that they're going to go full Kelce here. And week 2 is a Monday Night Football home game against Doug Pederson and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Zach's got it as well. We are going the exact same one. I think that's a good one. A big audience for that. Why not?
Well said. Yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength there. Monday night game. Jason Kelce's in the house. Fletcher Cox in the house.
Why is Fletcher Cox in the house?
Well, you have to honor him as well. I'm not saying they're retiring their jersey.
Oh, you think there's gonna be like a?
Yeah, I don't think it's like Eagles Hall of Fame / jersey retirement type thing. I just think it's giving them their due in front of the crowd.
Got it.
With Doug Pederson there, Doug Pederson's statue 100 yards away. Yeah. I think the Jags, you got some juice. Trevor Lawrence going into year 4. So I like that. That was actually my prediction there. That was my number 2, but I'm happy to make that number 1.
Gives you a good indication of how specific we're getting.
Yeah, well, I think mine get pretty specific.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Specific.
I think that'd be a fun way to start.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Great fun show here, Monday night show. I like that.
All right, you go ahead. So give us your number 1.
So by the way, that would mean the Eagles open on a Friday and then a Monday. So extended rest going into 2 games, which is beneficial.
Yes.
So here you go. There was a story on the Saints website back in April about Doug Nussmeier. I don't know if you caught this one.
I did miss that.
I take it that you haven't. Doug Nussmeier. And there was a line in that story.
Wait, why was there a story this year on Doug Nussmeier on the Saints website?
It's like he played for the Saints.
Okay.
So it was
It's
like
like a where
catching
are
up
they
with an
now?
alumni.
Okay.
Yeah, where are they now? And actually, shout out to Greg Richards on Twitter, Eagles Nut. He found this.
That doesn't surprise me.
And put this up. And it said that he'll be making a homecoming appearance in the Caesars Superdome in November. Okay?
Really?
So I don't know. Yes. It was
What?
a very
They just
specific
gave
thing.
that away?
Last April, this past April, yes. So this has been in my notes.
Wait, last April?
No, this past April.
Like last month?
Last month, yes.
Okay.
This past April. And it said Eagles and Nussmeier are coming in November.
Really?
Yes, really. So
They just slipped that in?
they just slipped that in.
Huh.
So that gives you a few weekends. Now, you go to the Superdome website and you look at the events. This can't be the last weekend in April because they got, I think it's the Grambling Southern game. So there's college football that last weekend. Okay, so then you have the first few weekends in November. Well, how about this?
How did they get that so specifically? What?
I don't know. If they're wrong, I might call out the Saints website. How about Saints at Eagles on Monday, November 14th? Why Monday, November 14th? Well, that's Devontae Smith's birthday. What about Devontae Smith?
You didn't put that as a thing in the
No,
software?
I'm doing this. So Devontae Smith, who's from
Amite.
Louisiana, has not played in New Orleans in his career. The Saints have come up here. He has not played down there. So what about Devontae Smith going down on his birthday, November 14th, Monday night? And that, by the way, is the second biggest story. The biggest story is Doug
Nussmeier back,
return
baby.
to New Orleans. So you got to imagine here at the Superdome, the Saints go marching in on the big screen. They show the Eagles quarterbacks coach. I don't know if he's going to be in the booth or the sideline, right? Alex Tanney was on the sideline, but whatever, the cameras have to go in on Doug Nussmeier. Doug Nussmeier raises, because he wears, I believe, the visor, raises the visor to the great crowd. And by the way, you know who the starting quarterback at LSU might be this year?
Doug Nussmeier.
Garrett Nussmeier, Doug Nussmeier's son. How about that?
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, you really nailed this one.
So just something to pay attention to when the schedule comes out.
Do you feel like that's the kind of thing for in New Orleans? Doug Nussmeier's return is sort of like Dave Canales coming to town everywhere else. It's like, watch out, Nussmeier's back.
Well, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier was a big-time prospect. Is he? I think he's the front runner to be the quarterback this year. I remember him as a recruit. Garrett Nussmeier, yeah, I think he's in line to be the starting quarterback this year.
Wow.
Jaden Daniels' his replacement. Garrett Nussmeier takes over QB1 job for spring football. Let's just see, by the way, who does LSU play that weekend? This is going to be interesting.
Bated breath.
Bated breath
Everybody
here. How about, so they're not home on, we're talking about November, what day did I say? November 14th?
Devontae Smith's birthday.
I must have gotten, because how's...
You said it's a Monday, though.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said I meant Thursday. A Thursday game, not a Monday game. A Thursday game. That's what it is.
Why?
Thursday game.
Interesting.
Because that's his birthday's on a Thursday. So that's why I chose Thursday. I conflated Thursday and Monday, okay? So anyways, a few days later, Doug gets to go to Gainesville, Florida, where he used to be the offensive coordinator, to see Garrett Nussmeier against the Florida Gators, because the Eagles will be off that weekend.
There you go.
Something to pay attention to.
Wow. How about that? All right, I'm going to give you my number 2. The last 8 years, Zach, I'm going to tell you when the Eagles' buys have come. Week 10 last year, Week 7 the year before that, Week 14, Week 9, Week 10, Week 9, Week 10, and then in 2016, Week 4. I think the Eagles are due for an early season bye. So my prediction here is that the Eagles' bye this year, especially given the trip to Brazil, is going to come Week 7 or sooner.
Okay.
So Week 4, Week 5, Week 6, Week 7. That's my prediction here.
And which one would you like?
Which one would I like?
Yes.
Hopefully, maybe Week 7 is your wedding weekend, and you can get that. There's not really one that I care about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I like that one. Okay.
You know what? The question about like Jeffrey Lurie's thumb on the scale,
Yeah.
you know, how much power does he wield in the league office? Maybe he just uses it for a mid-season buy.
That'd be an odd thing to request.
It's
but
kind of a good.
yeah. Okay. I like that. Do you
I think
think
they're
that,
due for an early one?
when's the best buy in your opinion?
Week 12.
And why do you say that?
Because I think you want it towards the end of the season, but not too late at the end of the season.
So this is something that I've had discussions with players about. There's a thought that the best time is middle of the season. I once spoke to Jason Kelsey about this. I hope it was a conversation on the record, but I don't think it's like speaking out of turn here. That the players often think about it from
training camp,
when they report to training camp. Exactly. Because like the season start, but now this was before they had a week off before
That's
the
what I was
first
going to
game.
say. I think the calculation has changed a little bit because you get that time off now between.
Exactly. And you get the full weekend of Labor Day off. The NFL's off. But yeah, it used to be that they actually looked at like an early season bye as a good thing because they're reporting 6 weeks before the season. So if you're adding, at that point, it was a 17-week season, 17 plus 6, right? You're thinking 23, so like 12 weeks in. Okay, so like week 6 would be like the ideal time for a bye, given that they start 6 weeks before the season.
Interesting. Okay, I'm just a little gambler's fallacy playing the odds there.
Okay, so I had to look up LSU's schedule, but I didn't have to look up this college. I already looked up this college football game. Okay, I was driving back from State College last year with Emily and 2 of our friends, and we commented that this was such a nice time. We should do this again next year. And they said, well, you know what? Penn State's actually at USC next year. And I was like, I can't go to LA. I cover the Eagles, right? But the Eagles play the Rams this year. And what about, okay, Penn State USC, October 12th in the Coliseum.
I like you're talking about this like this is a rivalry that matters.
Philly fans are getting on those flights from PHL to LAX, okay, on that Friday, and they're catching Penn State.
Going to make those flights pretty expensive, Zach.
I know. We got to tell Vince. Yes. Penn State USC at the Coliseum. And then they stay an extra day because the next day you go down south from the Coliseum to Inglewood at SoFi Stadium, and the Eagles against the Rams. Eagles are at the Rams this year for the second year in a row. You get all those Penn State fans who are going to the Penn State Eagles game. Now they go to Eagles-Rams game. The Eagles take over that stadium. Saquon Barkley. Do you guys remember the best game that you've ever seen Saquon Barkley play in a Penn State uniform? What do you think it was?
I think I know the answer.
The Rose Bowl against USC. So imagine Saquon
so
Barkley going. I'm sure, look, you got
to manufacture
energy. We're doing a show on May 14th. Okay, about this.
About a fake game.
Yes. Yeah, we got. Look, I saw something. I saw this clip of Jim Harbaugh the other day, and Jim Harbaugh, he wakes up on the morning of rookie minicamp, and he's looking up at the ceiling of his trailer because he's staying in the RV, and he says, "Today's not any day. Today's the day." Okay, and he says it's another way of saying attack the day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. So yeah, that's how I'm approaching this show today. So Penn State USC October 12th, and then the next day where Saquon Barkley had that great game against USC, not literally the same stadium, but down the road from Pasadena in Inglewood, you have Eagles Rams, Saquon in front of all those Penn State fans, in front of all those Eagles fans. How do you like that?
I love it.
Okay.
I'm just glad you're excited. Wow. Penn State USC. You got to wrap it around that.
Oh, and how about this? The Penn State USC game. You know what channel it's on?
Doug Nussmeier.
It's on Fox. What if Fox wants that. So Fox gives you the Philly, they corner the Philly market that weekend. Look at us behind us. We have a Penn State pennant. I don't know how that got changed. It was before.
It was Harold Carmichael.
It was Harold Carmichael. Now it's Penn State, but they probably knew I was going to be talking about the Penn State game on this show.
And you know who USC's quarterback is this year, the presumptive quarterback?
It's the guy who started the bowl game last year. Mason Moss, I think, or Miller Moss. Is that his name?
It's actually Frank Nussmeier.
Well, no, I think it's Miller Moss. Or let me see.
Miller Moss.
Miller Moss,
That
USC.
can't be a name.
Boom! Miller Moss, USC.
Miller Moss?
Yes.
Out. I'm out on Miller Moss.
He had a great game in the
It's a terrible name
in the
for a
postseason.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Miller Moss?
Miller Moss.
Oh, I think that guy can't be good.
I mean, he played really well, and then I think in his post game interview, he had a little shot at Caleb Williams. He talked
Really?
about like the togetherness of the team. I think something like
Let
that.
me take a look at this guy.
Look at this.
Let me see his face. Yeah, way out.
Well, look at this game against Louisville in the bowl game. 23 of 33 for 372 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think Miller Moss is going to be their quarterback this year.
Well, then take the under on USC wins.
Yeah, their backups. Yeah, it's going to be Miller Moss.
Okay. My number 3 prediction here, Zach. Same 8-year time period. These are the teams that the Eagles have ended their season with. Final week of the season. At the Giants, home against the Giants, home against the Cowboys, home against the Commanders, at the Giants, at the Commanders, home against Dallas, home against Dallas. The only iteration of NFC East matchup the Eagles have not had to finish the season is at Dallas. This year, the Eagles are going to finish the season, Week 18, in Dallas. I guess not Dallas, but Arlington,
sure.
rather. And that is how they're going to close the season. The 2 favorites to win the division are going to go head-to-head. Week 18, you're going to be there.
Is it a championship game, or are the starters playing?
The starters are playing. This is a win and in for the playoff game. The Commanders have gone 17-0.
You would pick a Josh Harris team to go 17-0. Yeah. Okay. Your Josh Harris face.
We did it. 17-0. We did it.
All right. Okay. I like
And we sold all those racist T-shirts. Yay.
All right. Yeah, you got it. Okay. I like that. The Eagles. Now that would be like January 8th, I think. That's a fine time to go. Actually,
Sure,
no.
yeah.
Actually, wait a second. That's something else I have to look forward to. Sloan's birthday is January 9th. Oh, okay. January 9th is a Thursday. So, yeah, January 11th or January 12th. Fine. Happy to go to Dallas that weekend.
Is there a game on January 6th?
Is there a game on January? It's a Monday.
Monday night?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What?
Just depends on who you're playing against. I mean,
Oh.
if Del Rio was still around, that'd be a big thing to worry about.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Um,
you know what I don't like? What I don't want to see?
What?
I don't want to see you play the same team twice in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I don't like
hate
that
that.
either. Be a little more creative in NFL.
Come on. That's
yeah.
what they did with the Giants last
Give
year.
all these
It's the worst.
permutations. Yes.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. So my last one here. And again, I texted Bo about this. Like, give me an example of a prediction. I need to know. I guess mine are a little specific, and I'm trying to have a little fun with it, right? In 2008,
Ooh.
if you remember, October 26th, 2008, before I say what it is, who in this chat remembers where you were October 26th, 2008? I'll give you 30 seconds or 5 seconds to populate. I imagine some of you might have been in the South Philly complex, in the stadium complex. Because that day, at 1 p.m., the Eagles played the Falcons. Okay? And then that night, the Phillies played the Rays in the World Series. So here we go. I would have to look. I think it's October 27th this year would be the Sunday. Okay? October 26th is a Saturday, so October 27th is a Sunday. I should know that's actually the wedding weekend. Okay. But a home game. How about this? The Falcons are coming to town this year again. The Falcons are in Philly.
Now, I did consider the Falcons for that Week 2 Monday Night Football.
Okay.
You get Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football early in the season against the Eagles again.
Yeah,
for like
Week
the
2.
third straight year.
Exactly, yeah. So the Falcons come that day, October 27th, Sunday, 1 p.m., okay? Just like they did in 2008. Then that night, across the street, the Phillies against the Orioles in the World Series. How about that?
The Orioles, huh?
Yeah, I mean, who would you? Maybe the Yankees Would you have gone with the Yankees?
I wouldn't have known. I don't pay attention to the American League.
Okay. I mean, the Guardians are good. I don't know how the Guardians will do in the postseason. I think eventually the Rangers get better. They have some injuries right now, but they're going to get Scherzer back. They're going to get Langford back. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to do the show for Renee and Jamie. But the PHLY studios are bumping that day. Actually, we probably have remote shows that day with all these diehards, because the diehards are picking up by the day, and they're reading the great coverage online, and they're going to the events, and they're getting 10% off their merch, right? And they're all these great shirts that we have. And maybe we have a shirt just for this October 27th day, the South Philly takeover. And maybe it's at the BetPARX casino or something like that, where we have these Eagles show during the day, and then at night, Phillies show. So I'm going Phillies, Orioles. Fine to do Phillies, Yankees, but look, the Orioles are going to keep getting better. I think they'll acquire a pitcher at the deadline. So, I mean, the Orioles AAA club is just loaded every time that they just demoted Heston. Okay, I'm not going to pronounce the last name because you both will make fun of me. They promoted Kyle Stowers, and I mean, every week they're bringing up a good player. So yeah, Phillies, Orioles.
You're feeling confident about the Phillies making it.
You're feeling confident. Well, I don't know. I was watching the Dodgers game last night, and. By the way, that second inning home run by Luis Matos on the Giants, that thing was out of the park right away. But the Dodgers are absolutely loaded too. So I'd be worried about the Dodgers. But yeah, I mean, I was watching that Phillies game last night too. Great ending. Tough one for Edwin Diaz.
Tough one.
Did you watch that?
I was paying attention, but I wasn't.
Okay, what'd you think of the call on Whit Merrifield? Phillies got away with one there.
Yeah, I didn't actually see it. I heard it was a bad call.
Yeah, bad call. Phillies got away with it. But great job by Whit. Okay? I'm going to replay this for you here. So check swings. Okay, it's a 3-1 count. Check swings. Clearly a swing.
Yeah.
But you know what he does?
Drops the bat.
Drops the bat, takes off the batting gloves.
Of course. He's a pro, yeah.
Great move by him. And then the next at bat, Bohm gets hit, walks in the run.
The wedding that I went to last weekend, the groom grew up playing with Whit Merrifield. He was the shortstop. Whit Merrifield was the second baseman. They're good friends.
Really? What did he say?
Yeah,
nice guy.
Yeah, loves him. They're still friends today.
That's awesome.
He made it to Double-A.
Flex.
Pretty good. Yeah. All right, you ready for my last one?
Yes.
It's gonna be. This one's a little bit of bad news for you, I'm afraid, and for all of us here at PHLY, because the Eagles have not played on Thanksgiving, Zach, since 2015, and they're going to do it again this year. It is not going to be a Cowboys or Lions game. The Thursday night primetime Thanksgiving game is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles going to Baltimore to play Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. This is kind of a nice, if you got to inconvenience a team to play on Thanksgiving, you don't send them too far. It's just a quick little jaunt down to Baltimore. And it's big ratings. You get Lamar Jackson in prime time. You get Jalen Hurts in prime time. That's a fun one for everybody.
I hope not, but yeah,
I hope not too.
I hope you're wrong. I don't like Thanksgiving.
But
games.
see, this is nice because if I get this right, then as disappointing as it is, I get to flex about it.
Sure.
So it's really a win-win for me. If I get this wrong, then it's great. Then I'm playing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, 14-15 back-to-back, 14-15 back-to-back years. That was not great. Also, 2009 against the Cardinals at home. Do you remember that? Were you at the?
No, I was not. That was that was my. No, I think it was actually 2008, wasn't it?
2008 season. Yes,
it was 2008,
correct.
And then they ended up going and they losing in the NFC Championship game. I remember. I was watching. I watched that game in Coatesville. Believe it or not.
What were you doing in Coatesville?
That's where my aunt was from.
Oh, nice. That's where Rip Hamilton's from.
I know that. 2015. Which was the Lions one? That was 15.
15.
The most
the end of the chip
the
era.
most depressing Thanksgiving of my life. I was hosting the post-game show, and the person who for PhiladelphiaEagles.com and the person who was in charge had ordered food for us, and on the day, 2 hours before the game is supposed to start, a turkey arrives raw. So we just like put it under the heat lamp in the NovaCare Complex kitchen, just like cooking it in the worst way possible. And we're just sitting there, and we got these like terrible pre-made sides, just totally depressing.
Okay. I had a burger that night at the Detroit Marriott Renaissance Center Hotel.
Good food city.
Detroit? Yeah, but nothing's open on Thanksgiving night. So you're eating in the... I actually had a good meal the night before. I went out with Bob Ford, and Jeff McClain, Bob Rookover. Yeah, it was a nice time.
There you go. So hopefully this one will be less depressing.
Yeah, and then 2014. Do you remember 2014 in Dallas?
I'm trying to remember.
Sanchez had a good game.
Yeah, was I at that game? Maybe. I don't remember what we did for Thanksgiving then. No, you know what? I do remember that. I went up to Maine and we had a Wolf's Den the next day, and that was like the favorite Thanksgiving foods and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Jason Kelsey, famously anti-turkey, although he's come around a little bit. He thinks turkey's overrated.
I like everything else. Like I'm more of a supporting cast guy than the main actor on Thanksgiving, but I don't dislike turkey. I like the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the sweet potatoes and all that goes with it.
I think if you don't like the turkey, you're having bad turkey.
I gotta say, and like that's the one. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday of the year, bar none. I want to be home with the family.
Even more than New Year's.
More than New Year's, more than July 4th. Yeah.
What about President's Day?
Well, President's Day. By the way, we never relitigated that.
That's true. Yeah, Roger is all over it.
He was watching the PHLY Eagles show.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to give him that idea for free, the least he can do is give you no LA on October 25th.
Yeah, if I was commissioner for the day, yeah. No, hey, by the way, I have a wedding in LA late August.
Labor Day to President's Day.
Yes, Labor Day to President's Day. I have a wedding in October, late August. But
what, October, late August?
No, late August. I have a wedding in LA, late August.
Oh, in LA.
But I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind that Penn State, USC, Eagles, Rams thing. I've always looked for that double dip of the college game and the NFL game.
Of course.
That makes it easy. And maybe Emily can come out with me that weekend. That'd be great.
There you go.
Yeah, cheer on her alma mater.
She's a huge Penn State fan, isn't she?
No, she's not. But I got to think, like, how am I going to, what college am I going to have these kids? Now, the kids are going to naturally gravitate toward a college. I don't want to force it upon them. I think Syracuse is actually going to rebound with Fran Brown, Kyle McCord at quarterback. Excited for that. But I'd have no issue if they grow up Penn State fans.
Don't you think they'll be naturally LSU fans because of the whole Nussmeier connection?
Maybe so. They're watching.
Reed's going to be all over that.
Yeah, he's watching the Eagles Saints game, and he's like, yeah.
It's Garrett Nussmeier.
There's Doug Nussmeier being honored. Yes.
All right, let's talk about our friends at TruMark because, they're local, just like all you Penn State fans. TruMark Financial Credit Union has better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, and more flexible options than your big bank options, with all the same digital tools and tech to make our lives easier. When you join a credit union like TruMark Financial, you become part owner, which means profits come back to you instead of going to the shareholders. TruMark has local roots, headquartered in Fort Washington, where Julia went to high school. With 24 branches in the Philly area, they serve our community and our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being a customer at a bank that it is a total no-brainer. Here's the deal. This is JP's story, and I didn't realize that that's what it was. So I said, "Here's the deal," as if I was about to read copy, but it's actually just somebody else's story, so I can't just ape that. But the deal with TruMark is all I've already said. Better stuff for you. You're not supporting the big conglomerates. You're keeping it local. That's what the credit union experience is all about. So head over to TruMark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's TruMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA.
We have a great piece up now on allphly.com from Ed Barkowitz, who has a lot of the gambling odds going into kind of the season and the schedule release. Okay. And
That's my Ed Barkowitz.
Oh,
We do a
okay.
little bark anytime we bring up Ed Barkowitz.
Yeah, so check that out on allphly.com. And so where are those odds from? They're from BetPARX. Okay, and so if you want to place the bets that Ed talks about, go to your BetPARX app because we're brought to you here by the BetPARX app. Get in the zone with BetPARX Sportsbook app. Money is in the moments. There are so many events coming up. I have the MLB Pass, so I'm watching MLB games every night. These NBA playoff games are awesome to watch. This Knicks game tonight, we'll pay attention to that. You can win big with all-day action. Win your first $10 bet and earn $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Download the app and play along with us. Must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. What's your road trip primer?
Road trip primer. So let me tell you about some of these trips because I know. Look, this will be it's my 13th year on the beat. 12 of these years I've traveled. I didn't travel the COVID year. Okay. So I've been to every NFL city.
Here's what I want from you.
Okay.
I know that these are all good food cities.
Yes.
I want you to go on the record and rank the food cities here.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing I got to say. All right. I can't really rank the food. Now, I can't really rank the food cities in the sense that.
Sure you can.
Well, Baltimore, Washington, and New York are all good food cities, but I don't stay over. Those are just day trips for me. All right. And so that's what I'm going to say. If you want just a day, you want to take your significant other or your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your friend, you want to take them to an Eagles game, but you don't want to pay for the airfare. You don't want to pay for the lodging. You don't want to have to worry about any of that. They have the Baltimore game this year gives them that extra day trip game. So you have 3 of those. Okay. So now you look at these other cities. Okay. You have Dallas, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, LA, and Cincinnati. All right. Now I could put Sao Paulo on there. That's a home game, but that's a road game. It's a road destination. All right.
Let me rank these food cities in my mind first.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. If you could pick any place to go for this, I would say go to LA. Why am I saying go to LA? Because they're going to play Penn State USC the day before. But no, that is an awesome stadium. All right. I'm being earnest here. If you're investing money in going to these games, you're flying, you're either staying in Airbnb, a hotel, staying with a friend, whatever it may be, but you want like a really cool game day experience. Okay, the SoFi Stadium, I was there last year. It is an awesome stadium. It's where NFL stadiums are going, and I think that's just a really cool place to see. You're loaded with Eagles fans. That's a high quality opponent. LA's a fun city to go to. There's so much to do, such good food, different types of cultures and cuisines. So recommend that. That would be number 1. Very close to is New Orleans. Now New Orleans. Amazing food city. Okay, my brother went to college there. I've been there.
So you know it's a good food city.
I'm saying I've been there. I've eaten all around.
I would rank New Orleans above LA, and
as a food city, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
no, as a road trip possibility, as a destination.
Sure. Well, now the thing is that I would rather go to, like I'm saying, go see SoFi. If you're just thinking the city, New Orleans is a great city to go to. Of course, eat at Giacomo's. Giacomo's is my favorite spot there. It's not in like your Bourbon Street area. It's a little off the beaten track, but
I don't think you need to make the SoFi Stadium as the number 1 most important thing of all the road trip options here.
Well, the Eagles aren't in, they were there last year, but they're not there every year. I think it's a cool place to see. SoFi's a special. It's one of those places when you see it, you're like, wow, this is a different type of stadium. This is.
But you just said all the stadiums are going that way. So eventually, every stadium.
Eventually,
will be like
but they're not there now.
Okay.
Trust me. If you go to FedEx Field,
Well,
you go to
that's
SoFi,
dead
you're
last.
like,
We know
how are
that.
these two teams in the same league? Okay.
The Superdome is fun too.
Superdome is fun
It's
too.
also like you can walk there.
Yeah, great atmosphere, great
You got to
food.
drive in LA. Come on.
Yeah, great food in New Orleans, great town. I'm not a big music guy, but real good jazz music. Okay. What's the street that has the jazz? It's not
Nussmeier Street.
No, you know what it is.
Canal?
No. Jazz Music New Orleans Street. It's why am I missing the street? It's is it Frenchman Street? Yeah, Frenchman Street. Okay. Yeah, so you do that. Look, I don't need to tell you guys, Eagles fans, whenever I go to New Orleans, and they make Bourbon Street their own. You see them all around Bourbon Street, right? I've had encounters with Eagles fans on Bourbon Street. It's very nice. It's obviously a popular destination. Good food. I'll tell you, if you want dessert in New Orleans, okay, Camilla's Grill. You go to Camilla's Grill, you get the chocolate pecan pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Don't take my word for it. Take Peyton and Eli Manning's word for it. This is where they used to go, Camilla Grill. And so my siblings make fun of me because I was in New Orleans with my whole family for my brother's college graduation. And I'm just, the whole time, I'm saying, I just need an hour to go to Camilla's Grill, to sit at the bar, and to get the chocolate pecan pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, because this is what the Mannings used to do. And it is blissful. So highly recommend that.
Is that your number one road dessert?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I mean, it's certainly up there. Now, when I've been to Louisville, and they have the Derby pie. That's terrific as well. There's some great cookie places I've gone to on the road. There's restaurants where you always have good food. But, yeah, I mean, that chocolate pecan pie is awesome because it's like real fresh.
What's your dessert spot in LA?
So there's a place on UCLA's campus. Okay.
I mean,
it has two.
The sweetest cherry pie you've ever imagined?
No, they make. I don't know what that means. They take two cookies and they make an ice cream sandwich. But it's like they're famous for this, and it's inexpensive. It's like $3 for this. Yeah, it's just real good cookies and ice cream. But I went to UCLA's campus and did the. I saw the John Wooden statue. It's awesome to see. Saw USC's football facility, an impressive place. But there's a lot of really good places. I mean, LA is just a great, like LA, you can find every type of cuisine. It's kind of like New York, but you got to drive, basically.
Yes.
All right, so let me go on down this list here. Cincinnati. Okay, Cincinnati. The Eagles don't go to Cincinnati. Actually,
I think
often.
Cincinnati's a fun one, actually.
Yeah.
As a road trip destination, I would put that for Eagles fans pretty high up on the list this year, just because it's a rare trip.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good team, theoretically. And, yeah, it's a place you wouldn't otherwise go.
The last time the Eagles were in Cincinnati was Carson Wentz's rookie year. It was actually the infamous. It was the game that Jason Kelce spoke about in his speech.
Yes, the
Zach Ertz in the block and Roddy McLeod at the. Yeah, there was. So, anyways, Cincinnati. There's a few different places you can go. People talk about Skyline Chili. Look, not my cup of tea, but you can lose a Super Bowl ring in Skyline Chili, right? Jason Kelce reference. I've never been to, is it Ruby Steakhouse? But it's supposed to be a great spot. That's where Joe Burrow goes. They have the Joe Burrow steak there. There was an Italian place right around the corner from where I stayed. Now, I've been to Cincinnati a few times. Sometimes you stay in northern Kentucky. Sometimes you stay in downtown Cincinnati. It's kind of right across the bridge. But I'll come back to you with this Italian place. But it was really good. I went there with Jeff McClain and Bob Ford after that 2016 game and had a great meal. And I was kind of on the hook there because I was kind of looking up. I said, I found this. I discovered this. This had to be good. It was open on a Sunday night. It was awesome. So, yeah, Cincinnati's a good spot to go to. And, by the way, Cincinnati's not a far drive from Columbus if you want to see. Like, Ohio State's football team's loaded this year. If Ohio State's home that weekend, make sure you check that out.
What's your...
So then you have Tampa Bay here. The Eagles have been in Tampa Bay a lot recently, right? But Tampa Bay, they have great Cuban sandwiches in Tampa Bay. I can give you a good Cuban spot. I went last year. I had a great dinner with Olivia and EJ from the Inquirer.
You love Burns.
At Burns Steakhouse. They have the dessert room there as well. My favorite place to go is Columbia Restaurant. It's a Cuban spot in, am I pronouncing it correctly, Ybor City?
YBOR. So, yeah. Been there.
And I'm going to sound like the Costanzas here, but their paella is amazing. Okay, the Valencia paella. Get that. And then they make the tableside Caesar. Can't go wrong with the tableside Caesar.
Love a tableside Caesar.
Love a tableside Caesar. And the mojito is awesome. So recommend that.
So when you show up to Burns and they have a dessert room, do they have to
the Harry Walls?
Do they have to fortify the walls because they're worried you're going to run through them?
No. Honestly, I'm not I'm not ripping on Burns here. I'm not a fancy dessert guy, right? Like I'm more of like the
working man's dessert.
Well, no, I mean, give me
a cobbler I can crush in my hand, my
pie,
calloused hands.
a cookie, a brownie. It's like a brownie sundae cookie. Warm
Pizookie.
Soft, a pizookie, soft chocolate chip cookie type thing. Sometimes you go to these places where they have the ganache and the souffle and the creme fraiche, and it's like, no, give me the soft baked cookie.
You want to eat like an 8-year-old?
Yeah, the soft baked cookie with the vanilla ice cream on top. That's what I like.
Do you think what do you think is the pathology of this? Do you think it's like you chasing your childhood in a way?
I just think I like dessert.
Your reverence for dessert, but also not classed up desserts.
I just have a sweet tooth. That's all. And yeah, I think dessert's something you like simple, right? I'm fine. There's some foods that you're like you want this expertly made. And this is no disrespect to the wonderful pastry chefs out there. There's some amazing pastry chefs. That doesn't do it for me as much as just your pizookie at BJ's Brew House. So,
well, there you go. Shots fired at all the talented pastry chefs who listen to this podcast, of which there are many. All right, Zach. What else you got to say about the schedule as we wait for tomorrow?
So then, Ryan
says ZB is a real dirt pie of the earth type guy.
I do like a dirt pie, right?
Yeah.
You get the Oreo crumbles in there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So then, anyways, Baltimore.
You have a dessert spot in Baltimore?
Actually, there's a good cookie spot. My cousin Nina got me really good cookies from there one time. I don't have it off the tip of my tongue here. Shout out to Nina. But I love crab, and a big game at the Raven Stadium. M&T, is it still M&T Bank Stadium?
I believe so.
They give the crab cakes at halftime, but what I prefer is on the drive up, on the drive home. If it's a 1:00 game, you get out there early enough, you can stop off of 95 and get real good crab cakes.
You had a spot off 95?
I do. I went with my brother Alex one time. We went to a college basketball game down in D.C. It was the regional game, Duke versus Michigan State. Zion's only year there. Zion, R.J. Barrett. Michigan State won. Right, they hit a big shot at the end. We're driving back home, and we looked up crab cakes off of 95 and found a great crab cake spot. Don't have it off the tip of my tongue. Washington D.C. Again, I don't stay over there, but I live there. Washington D.C. is awesome, great city. Bo laughs. That and then look, New York. I mean, it's in North Jersey. Hoboken's a good food city. Julia can attest to that, but
she can't remember.
Yeah, it's a good food city. But look, I mean, New York, you get everything. But there's a great pizza spot that I stop at on my drive up that I always tell you about. And no disrespect to the MetLife Stadium spread, but
not good.
You give me good New Jersey pizza, and that's where I go.
What's your go-to New York dessert?
Good question. I'm going up there a few weeks from now for my anniversary. I got to look it up. I'm a chocolate chip cookie guy, so I find whatever New York Magazine says is the top cookie spot that year. But I used to.
Is chocolate chip the apex cookie for you?
Yeah, the soft baked chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes if they have if there's a little toffee in there, I like that. I like the English toffee.
Okay.
In the chocolate chip, but yeah, a warm chocolate chip cookie is my favorite. But
what's number 2?
For cookies, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I always go chocolate chip, but then I like a sugar cookie maybe.
Okay.
I'm not a big oatmeal raisin guy.
Yeah.
So.
Now you like a chocolate chip?
Not as much. Oh, well, here, I'll tell you my favorite, Levain Bakery. Have you had Levain's?
I think so.
All right. So this is, I guess I'm embarrassing myself a lot on this episode.
Why?
The first
You're a
time.
man with a passion.
The first time I went to Levain's it was before an Eagles game. I was there for a wedding. I was up in New York for a wedding, and driving back, and Emily and I were taking a walk in Manhattan, and I said, I heard about this place. This was back like 8-9 years ago. And I pull in.
Now, hold on. Did you happen upon it, or did you I heard about this place, but you had actually
No, we happened upon
actually
it. We happened
tried
upon
to
it.
get there? Okay.
This was, I think it was before they expanded, and we weren't, like when I lived in Hoboken, but I would visit friends, I wouldn't venture up to like the Upper East Side that often, or Upper West Side. I was mainly like below the park when I would go, because actually the PATH train the highest it goes up is 33rd. So I'm giving you a lot of details here. So anyways, though for this wedding, we were staying uptown a bit because that's where the wedding was. And we were taking a walk that morning. And so that's where Levain was. We passed it. And I said, I heard about this place. So I got to go in. And anyways, so it was like an underground spot, like literally underground.
You're making me really want a cookie.
Yeah, but for some reason, so they have cameras there, okay, which I didn't know about. And you get this cookie, and it's fresh out of the oven, and when you break it apart, it oozes with the chocolate. That's how you know it's good. And anyways, Emily said the people who are watching this on the live feed on their website must have thought I was like an animal who's been let out of the cage because I'm eating this. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite dessert. And also, I used to go when I lived in Hoboken. I would visit my friends in New York. I would cover Mets games on the way back. In the Lower East Side, there was the meatball shop. You ever go to the meatball shop?
I have been to the meatball shop.
Yeah, and so they would make the cookie sandwich afterwards. That I used to like that as well.
Okay. Now, what about the chocolate cookie with like white chocolate chunks? The reverse chocolate chip cookie.
I don't dislike it, but no, I'm a warm chocolate chip cookie guy.
We should walk to Reading Terminal and get a cookie.
I like 4th Street.
Okay.
That's probably the place to go there. Yeah. But there's some other, the best place I've said this, my favorite, my number one cookie in Philadelphia, bar none, is the Urban Outfitters cafeteria. And there was a period of time when I would eat there a lot, and because we were at the Eagles facility every day, and I probably had too many cookies there, and that's why I'm working out a little more now. So
you worked out this morning.
Yeah.
You've earned the next cookie.
I think I'm at a deficit, so I have a long way to go before I earn a cookie. Yeah.
I think you deserve a cookie, Zach. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Cookies podcast. We will be back tomorrow night, prime time, 8 o'clock, to go over the actual Eagles schedule and celebrate if any of our predictions have come correct. So we look forward to that. Thanks to everybody for joining and listening and watching and all that good stuff. May you all treat yourself to a cookie over the next 48 hours. We will talk to you tomorrow night. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.